watching the Potsy and Tino show.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, the Pots and Pans Network brings you tag team champions of the world, the Road Dogg Tino Gray, the badass Rob Potsy Potchak. That's right, the Potsy and Tino show. Theme song is always brought to you by Adam's House Cats. Called the Wrestling Song. Is available on iTunes for 99 Jones. It's not even. It's not even pennies anymore. It's Jones. Anyway.
It's Jones.
It's just Jones.
Taz is taking over. Jones.
We're just Jonesing it, man. We're Jonesing.
Everything's Jones.
Everything's Jones. It's.
Taz said it again the other night, man. I'm like, okay. Everything's got to be Jones now.
Everything is Jones. By the way, I was gonna grab a piece of duct tape and write "free" right here. So it's a free Danhausen, but I did not do it. I didn't do it. Because I thought you would have just been like...
Well, yeah, I would have, but I mean, they never stopped you from doing stupid shit before.
What's not stupid shit? It's not stupid. Danhausen is... You can tell that the guy who is Danhausen is actively disappointed in how he's being used, considering the most recent interview he did was not as Danhausen.
He's a funky looking guy outside of makeup.
He's a normal looking dude.
He's still weird looking.
I dare you to say that to his face. Actually, when I met him,
he had Danhausen. I outweighed Danhausen. I'm scared of Danhausen.
Dude, when I met him, he was wearing the Danhausen makeup, but he was out of character. He was just he was like, I was like, hey, how much are the t-shirts? And he goes, $29.99. And I was like, what? Like I was expecting $29.99, you know, and he was like $29.99, and I was like, dude, you're not in character. And he goes, yeah, I'm not wrestling.
That's a fuck you to you, buddy.
But you see, still wearing a shirt because still care about the dude. Still want to see him actually be successful in the world of professional wrestling. So,
why is it like Danhausen you're cool with anybody else, like a Darby Allin or somebody else you have problems with?
All right, I think that you're being a bit rough there.
No,
I hold on. Let me. You want me to explain?
Yeah, go ahead.
Obviously,
just going off of what you've said in the past.
Obviously, this is before we actually jump into wrestling, right? Because normally, like with the "What's Up with You," we sit there, but I'll do it. I'll explain it, and I'll explain it. I'll explain it pretty easily. AEW tries to push Darby Allin on us as a world title caliber athlete.
Mm-hmm.
Am I wrong?
No, but why can't he be a world caliber athlete?
But hold on.
Okay.
What is he? Like you just said, I'm not worried about Danhausen because I outweigh him.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm not worried about Darby Allin. I'll whoop his ass too. I'm just saying.
Well, I never said I wanted to see Danhausen be world champion. I never said that. I said that I want him to be in a place where he's happy. That's what I want.
Okay.
Like what you were thinking I was trying to imply, I guess, is that Danhausen should be higher up on the card. Mm-hmm. Danhausen should just be on the fucking card.
Well, that's AEW's fault too. They've got too many Tony Khan people he's trying to push. He's pushing his favorite toys, the WWE guys, and
you're even
the
using my
fucking
terms for it now. I
and
love
the
it. I
fucking
love it.
the young fucks, and he's pushing those people that he wants to.
But do you see where I'm going here? It's like Danhausen right now would probably be the TNA champion.
The what?
The TNA Internet champion.
Oh, okay. I was about to say he ain't beating Joe Hendry neither. I believe in Joe Hendry.
But every time you say his name,
I got you.
No. I was gonna laugh at that anyway. But I mean, but see, so I think you and I are now in agreement with what I'm talking about here. Like I never said Darby Allin shouldn't be on the card. I just said Darby Allin's 160 pounds and I could kick him off the mountain. And I'm not wrong. I outweigh the son of a bitch by 100 pounds.
This is good. Oh, wait.
Oh, I love the fact that like it was like, no, we're not going to show what that's called.
It was an accident. It was an accident because I got my background blurred. This, you had this? It's backwards. It is the Cider Boys Cranberry Raz. It's a hard cider. It's apple, cranberry, and raspberry. It's just pretty good.
I have not had it.
It's pretty good.
You'll have to save one for me.
It's pretty good. Yeah. And I didn't buy it. It got left here from a Christmas party. I'm like going to the refrigerator. Hey, there's a beer.
We'll have to figure out how to get one of those then. But now, no. So obviously we'll talk about this a little bit more later because we're going to talk about who is on the card versus who is no longer with the companies, right? But
and WWE let a bunch of people go, and I'm like, okay,
well,
and some of them I'm like, what? But yeah, we'll talk about it.
Well, we will definitely talk about it because I posted something on our Facebook page about it, the group page. But seriously, like Danhausen is healthy. He is the number 4 or 5 in the world on merchandise sales. And yet
I don't think they have anything for him. And that's sad, but they don't have anything for him.
But he can't get booked. And you know what? We'll talk about that more when we actually get to pro wrestling. But I was gonna wear the shirt, like I was gonna make the shirt say "Free Danhausen" because I am a fan of his. Because like so many other people, he gets himself over on the indie circuit, gets signed to a contract, and then, like you said, he's not one of the favorite toys anymore. So he doesn't get used. And that's not beneficial to the professional wrestling industry. But Tino, let's go ahead. We're gonna do what we always do. And I'm gonna ask you, what's up with you?
Let's see. Not a whole lot. I had to take. So Nicole woke up Friday morning. She's like, "Oh, my shoulder hurts." You know, her shoulder. And I'm like, "Did you sleep on it wrong?" She goes, "I don't know." And as the day went on, it got worse and worse. So like Friday night, she's like, "I'm just about in tears," and it hurt her so bad. So I'm like, "Oh," so she started popping ibuprofen and Tylenol, you know, alternating, and she couldn't sleep. I'm like, "You want to take one of these muscle relaxers I had from one of my shows?" She's like, "No." And so she took a muscle relaxer. She took a muscle relaxer. She couldn't get comfortable in the bed. So Friday night, she slept in the recliner on the couch, because the couch has, like yours, has the recliners on both ends.
Right.
So
and
Saturday,
it's a lot more comfortable somehow, even though when you wake up the next day, you're like, I fucking hurt everywhere. Like you fall asleep like that.
Yeah. And she's, well, that muscle relaxer helped her too, though. But And so Saturday, she got up and it was hurting her all day, and she was like, and so the Tylenol and the ibuprofen was kind of keeping it at bay, and she went to a Galentine's party with some girlfriends of hers,
Oh,
and I picked up her, huh?
oh, well, you said Galentine's. I was like, is that some sort of doctor?
No, it's Galentine's. That's what girls do because I
No,
have a
no.
bunch of girlfriends that do.
When you started saying with the girls, I was like, oh,
Yeah. So I went and picked up my father-in-law because he's back from his 2 weeks from being in Buffalo, and I get a phone call from one of the ladies like, "Hey, Nicole's like sobbing." And said, "I think we're gonna have to take her to like the urgent care." I'm like, "What?" And said her shoulder was hurting her so bad she was crying. So I'm like, "All right." So I went and picked her up and had to end up taking her to an ortho urgent care place. And they looked at her and they did the x-ray, and it turns out she had bursitis. So they gave her a cortisone shot, which she still had to sleep here, and she still did the IV because they said it would take 24 to 48 hours to kick in. So she slept out here. We still did the ibuprofen, Tylenol. I gave her the muscle relaxer again. It kind of took the edge off yesterday, and then I fucked around, and so her dad came over to watch the Super Bowl with us, and she got out of the shower. She was in the shower when her dad came, and she was getting out, and she's in the room. So obviously she's a little slower getting dressed because of the shoulder. And my father-in-law was sitting in the chair, and I didn't think anything of it. Oh shit, I gotta pee and so I went in the bedroom, and I didn't even knock because I didn't think about it. And I opened the door. Well, she was in the middle of getting dressed, and she did one of these like that to kind of cover up. Hurt her shoulder. She went down. She started crying again, and I felt like shit. It was an accident, and she's like, she wasn't mad because you didn't do it on purpose. But I'm like, I know. So finally today, she said that the shot started kicking in. She can kind of raise her arm and kind of do that now. But I'm like, dude, that whole, like I said, her crying and being in pain. I'm like, God. And I'm like, cortisone shot takes 24 to 48 hours. I was like, damn.
well, that's because it goes deep, and
that needle was that fucking long.
Yeah, but it's got to work its way out because they shove that needle in, and then it's got to work its way out. And I guess a lot of the pain that people feel is actually the motion side. It's going to be on the outer side of that.
Yeah, he says in the right here about the rotator cuff and somebody is pinching that nerve. Like every time she moves it up, it pinches down on that nerve. I'm like,
Trust me, I know about nerve pain over the past couple months. Like I know about it. So what else has been going on?
That, watched the Super Bowl, and then I went back to work today. Picked up a couple of gigs, but it won't be till May or June in Raleigh at I forget where Robert said it was. It's a downtown. What is it? It is, give me a minute, I can tell you. The Brass Tap.
I've heard of it.
Yeah, so we got a couple gigs coming up, but that's like in May and June. So, trying to just pick up extra gigs, trying to get back out there again.
Well, good.
Pick up some. Good. Because I hadn't really, because usually it's like word of mouth, and I hadn't really had to go and actually pick up the phone and make phone calls in a while. So
I guess I could ask you what you feel about the Super Bowl during the TV watching portion of the show, but like, were you shocked? Were you happy? What was your feelings on the Super Bowl?
I thought it was good. I wasn't going for the Chiefs anyway. I was like, because my brain fart. The dude from the Giants is playing for
Saquon
playing for Philadelphia. So I'm like, yeah, that's who I'm cheering for. So I was surprised that they held them at 0 as long as they did.
Yeah,
I was really surprised. What'd you think?
So I'm glad you asked because I was born in Philly. I grew up in New York. I moved down here when I was like 15. So anytime there's a New York or a Philadelphia team in any type of specialty event, I'm excited. This was the first time that I felt like the more likable team in the Super Bowl was that Philadelphia team, though. like
Thinking about was getting tired of the Chiefs.
Michael Strahan, who is a Hall of Famer, who is on, he took over Regis Philbin's spot on Regis and Kelly. All of a sudden became Kelly and Michael. And he's also on the Fox lead-in show to the Super Bowl.
I think he was on GMA too.
He's on Good Morning America. Yeah, he is with Robin Roberts and everything. So he was a lifelong New York Giant. He played every game of his professional career for the New York Giants, and Saquon and him did this moment about an hour before the actual Super Bowl. Obviously they did it 2 days before it. I don't know, but Saquon actually said they were on the ferry in New Orleans, and Saquon brought out a flag and said, "Come on, Michael, you got to do it." And Michael Strahan sat there and said, "I'm going to get disowned by every person in New York, but you're such a good dude. Give me the flag." And he said, "Fly, Eagles, fly." And by the way, they're in the same division. They are notorious rivals.
Yep.
Michael Strahan saying that he might never be allowed back in New York. But by saying that, he is probably now welcomed with open arms into Philadelphia.
Yeah.
So we didn't really talk about the game. I think we gave predictions last week, and I do think I said this. I said if the Eagles go up big, we don't have to worry about anything. And if you watch the game from beginning to end, on the very first drive, the Eagles got a penalty against them that everybody was like, even the guy for Fox, Mike Pereira, sat there and said, "That's a questionable call," right?
Yep.
And he said the reason why he's hearing they called it was because the offensive guy pushed the guy in the face mask. Okay. The reason why I say it's okay is because the next two big penalties in the game, one was then against the Chiefs, and they said it was because he pushed the guy in the face mask. And that caused the Chiefs to get a bad penalty. And then later on in the game, there was one where there was a Philadelphia guy who literally just took the giant mitt, pushed it into Patrick Mahomes' face. But Mahomes had already fumbled the football by that point. So they got the 15-yard penalty, but it was after the ball was loose. So Kansas City didn't keep the ball. So I felt like initially I was worried about the refereeing of the game. But by the end of the game, I think they were like, we're just going to call it the way we should. And that's why all of a sudden, even late in the game, there was some 15-yard penalty against Kansas City. And it was why? They don't even need it now. But what I will say about the game that I was really, really pleased by is that Patrick Mahomes never gave up.
Oh, yeah.
The game finished
he's about to cry.
22. The game finished 40-22. And Patrick Mahomes really did apply himself to get those 22 points. Because there are teams that would have just been like, fuck it, we're running the ball. We're just going to run the clock out as fast as we can, whatever. And he was like, no, we're going to do this. There's another player that I heard late in the game that they actually said, this guy is having a really good game. And unfortunately, it's on the wrong side of who's winning and who's losing. And that was a guy by the name of Drew Tranquill. Now, Drew Tranquill is a safety for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Mm.
He also was a 4-year starter at a place that I hold close, the University of Notre Dame. So, just want to point that out, that the two people that had the best games for Kansas City were Patrick Mahomes, who should, and by the way, when you're down big and all you can do is throw the football, he threw 3 touchdown passes. And he threw 3 darts. Like, they weren't even...
Oh, dude, no.
It wasn't even like the defense gave up. No. He threw them where only his receiver could catch them. And they were amazing. And Drew Tranquill made about every stop that you could ask him to on defense. And yet, they couldn't stop and here's what's funny. If you looked at the statistics for the first half, Saquon Barkley had 31 yards rushing.
Mm.
Which, by the way, that 31 yards made him the greatest running back in a single season in the NFL ever. And you know what they didn't talk about? The fact that he was the greatest running back in a single season of the NFL ever. They didn't mention it at all. They mentioned it before the game started. And then when he did it in the first half, now granted, it took him 12 runs, which meant he was running 2.5 yards a carry. Terrible. He broke the all-time rushing record in the NFL, and they did not once say it during the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Shame on Kevin Burkhardt and Tom Brady for not mentioning it a single fucking time.
Shame. For shame.
I'm serious. Shame on them. Because I will say this. I was very pleasantly surprised with how good Tom Brady was on the microphone.
I didn't recognize him at first. Even Nicole's like, damn, Tom Brady, he's got skinny. I'm like, yeah, that's what it was. He lost weight. He looked different, dude. I'm like, his name came up at the bottom. I'm like, what?
But he was surprisingly good.
Yes.
On the microphone. Like his color commentary was very well done. And what made me laugh about that was earlier they had asked him a couple questions and he seemed like he was completely out of place. But when he was calling the game,
because he's more comfortable, that's what he knows.
He was great.
That's what he knows.
I don't know if he was as good as Tony Romo has been in all of the games that he has now called, but obviously Brady has only called this season. Romo's now called 4 or 5 seasons. But I'm gonna
need them to take Bradshaw off my TV because he's starting to look like my precious.
Well, so earlier in the season, Terry Bradshaw
or the Crypt Keeper.
Well, Terry. So I'm going to point this out. Terry Bradshaw was very sick at the beginning of the season.
Okay.
And I don't know if it's the same kind of sick that when you see the Dick Clark's rockin' New Year's Eve, where all of a sudden, like you're just sitting there going, please, Ryan Seacrest, take him off the TV screen. But I think that it's more of the Terry's allowed to be here until Terry's ready to say no. But I think you're right. It was disappointing to see that downturn in what Terry Bradshaw was capable of
Yes.
giving you.
Yes.
You know, so I agree with you there, and it's disappointing because for so many years Terry Bradshaw really did have that mind that was so good at giving you like the full breakdown of what was going on in pro football, and yeah, now it really does seem like he's the one that stands out there while Ryan Seacrest sits there and calls in rockin' New Year's Eve's music. You know what I mean? And it's disappointing because Terry Bradshaw is someone that we should applaud and we should be thankful for. And yeah, it was rough listening to him. I agree 100%.
Sit down.
So, Tino, besides the Super Bowl, I want to tell you something, and I can't say a lot about it. Okay.
Okay.
But Saturday, I woke up, and I was woken up to a message about Dread Mutt, and I was happy about that. And I got reached out to by my co-creator of Zor, Michael Adams, who mentioned that he just wanted to check in on me and see what I was doing. And I was happy about that. And all of a sudden, I don't know if I was taking a shit, what the deal was, because like I get my best ideas when I'm taking a shit. But randomly, I sit there and I message both of them and I said, I got this great idea.
I'm taking a shit.
Well, it's funny you say that, because I will remind you that I did write an entire issue of Junior High Horrors while I was taking a shit.
Oh, okay.
It was issue 5. It was called The Fart. And it was the issue where they all ate Beanie Weenies. And just like the movie The Fog, this giant fart cloud came in and tried to kill all of them.
So stupid.
But one of the most popular issues I ever wrote of the comic, I literally wrote in like an hour while I was, like started on the crapper and then got up and then like 20 minutes later the book was done. But but I came up with this idea. And it's so early in the process, I really can't talk about it. But the way I'll describe it to you is, and I'll let the viewers hear this where it is right now. What do kids that are Pokemon fans at like 9 years old, when they outgrow Pokemon, what do they do then?
I don't know.
That's all I can say right now. Because, we are so early. Like, I don't have an artist attached to it. Although I did talk to Michael Adams from Zor, and I said, hey, I got an idea, and I think that you're the right guy to draw it. And I sent it to him, and he goes, I love it. I think it's great. Reminds me of something I've already come up with. And I was like, no.
Oh, no.
No, it's not even that. It's that he said, what if we tried to incorporate certain ideas from my idea into it? And if we were to do it together, I absolutely would do that. Because it would make the most sense. But I was like, no, this is like, I think
mine.
I was like, I think this is money, and he was like, it might be. Yeah, he's like, it's really good. I'm like, all right. And everybody that I've mentioned it to has been like, wow, that's really good. And I'm like, yeah. So that's all I can say about it. Okay. Do you want to say that we went to solicitation with Dread Mutt last week for number 1? And still waiting to see what's going on with Died Hard number 2, which should be out by the end of the month. but because of that whole Diamond distribution thing.
Was that when was that meeting? Wasn't that meeting last week that you were supposed to sit? You want to sit in on for King's spot?
Oh, I had a meeting with someone else. Yeah. I had a meeting with a company called Universal Distribution. And that was myself and Chris Crosby, the publisher of Keen Spot, and we secured Canadian distribution going forward.
Nice.
So we do have that.
Does that mean you can get your so is it going forward, or can you do like backlog? Like, can you get junior high horror into Canada now?
So this is going to be current books going forward, but it doesn't mean that we can't. And in fact, they mentioned back catalog, but they said let's get the ball rolling with the current stuff first.
Mm-hmm.
So I was happy to hear that because like, what if all of a sudden we said, yeah, we're going to go ahead and open up like Junior High Horrors number 3 to the Canadian Outlook, right? And then all of a sudden, like, they ordered 2,000 copies and we only have like 1,200 copies available. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so we were able to secure it. It looks like quickly too, like they were trying to get us on their final order cutoff stuff for like next week. So 2 weeks in, boom, we're supposed to be on their stuff. I'll be able to like totally state that, I think, next week or the week after. But
cool.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. Like, we're
cool.
The really funny thing about it was, originally I was told, hey, this is your first one of these big meetings. Why don't you just sit and like listen? And of course, I'm sitting in the meeting. Like, I get there before anybody else. I'm on video screen, and all of a sudden one of the people from the distributor shows up. Then the other person from the distributor shows up, and we're all like, well, where's the publisher from Keen Spot? Like I'm here, they're here. So I just started like BSing with them, like, hey, why don't you tell me how you guys got into comic books and like how you got into the like getting hired by your company and blah blah blah, like just random BS, just talking to them, like, so that way they know me as a person.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, like, because it was on Teams, and I don't know if you've ever, like, I hate Teams. I think everybody hates Teams.
Yes.
Like, if there's one of those programs that is going to screw you up trying to get on to talk to everybody, Teams is the number one that does it. But I will say this about Teams. It is still better than Skype.
My company's I think we're trying to get off of because we do all our classes and stuff via Zoom. I think they're trying to go to Teams. I'm like, I don't want to do that.
Well, there's some things with Teams that actually work out really well, like the actual creating of specific Teams elements, so that way you can, like, let's say you have to upload a weekly Excel spreadsheet, but your people have to write in their information on there. You can upload it onto Teams, and they can put their information in, and then you can take that and use that to show it to everybody. Some things like that work really well, but then other things work like garbage. Anyways, but yeah, so at the very end of the conversation, when they were like, "Do you have any questions about anything?" and the publisher was like, "No, I think I'm good," I was like, "Actually, I've got a couple."
You about to get fired?
No. When I asked the questions, it was like, "Hey, how do we let our customers know that we have like a book that we think is going to be hot coming out?" And they were like, "Oh, we can send an email about that, blah blah blah." And I was like, "Oh, that's really cool. If the distribution company wants to send the email about that, because that means that they think it's going to be hot." You know what I mean? And then I asked like 2 or 3 other questions, and I mean, they were quick and to the point stuff. And when we got off, I immediately got a message that said, "Your questions were really good." And then the next message I got was anytime I have one of these meetings, if you want to be on it, you can be on it. And I was like, so some good stuff happened last week.
And that's
Obviously,
awesome.
we're still hoping more good stuff comes from the actual current distribution in the United States. But that was some good information. Tino, I got nothing else from that. Are you ready to move on?
Yeah, getting comfortable.
All right,
Putting this
what are you
recliner
watching?
back. What am I watching? Let's see. Watson hadn't been out yet. A new Watson yet, has it?
Nope.
So not Watson. I think I'm caught up on Found and The Irrational.
Are they going to arrest Gabby Mosley or what the fuck, man?
I think that no, because I think that now that her team. Well, at the end of what's the last episode you see?
Well, now at this point, the cop Trent, the girl that he's been seeing, got shot by Sir's brother.
Did you see where? And I don't want to ruin it for you.
Where
They
that's
set up
fake? Where that's fake?
Huh?
Where that's fake?
I might not seen the episode. I saw where they set a trap. Did you see what they set up? And that's all I'm gonna say.
Oh, at the very end of the episode, where
Sir.
all of a sudden, like Sir shows up, and she says, "You think that you can come into my?"
Okay, so you did see that one.
Yes.
All right. So was that the last one? Was that so
that was the last? That was the last
Okay.
moment. Yes. But
So
I started thinking that the girl that
she's working with Sir.
Seeing,
I think she's working with Sir.
I'm starting to think that she's working with Sir. Yeah.
So that and The Irrational, and then just my normal shows. Like I said, I think you like High. Was it High Potential? I think you like that one. That's
haven't watched it yet, but I thought about it. I started watching that new one about the FBI agent that is trying to take down the serial killers from like the biggest serial killer thing. It's on NBC.
What is that? That's I want to watch. There's so many shows I want to watch. I keep putting them on my DVR to watch. I'm like, I'm never going to get to watch all these shows I want to watch.
Well, I watched the first episode, and I'm going to say this. The reviews on it have been pretty poor. It has an interesting concept because it's even like the person that was in charge of like this supermax facility with nothing but like serial killers.
Right.
The person that's in charge of it was apparently like dead. You know, like, so all this stuff that's going on is like nobody knows this place exists. Nobody knows who's in there. And they're thinking that half of these serial killers are dead. But all of a sudden it's like, nope. In fact, let's have you talk to this guy over here.
Okay. I want to check. Yeah, that one I want to check out. Tracker hasn't been back yet. I'm upset about Tracker.
Oh, I can't wait for Tracker to come back.
Yeah, I love Tracker. So like I got a couple of like I like the new Matlock with Kathy Bates. That's a good show. And then that Elsbeth that comes on, that's a good show too. She reminds me of like a modern day Columbo kind of thing because she acts like she's so dingy, but she always catches the people. But the cool thing I like about Elsbeth is they took a different approach to the show, right? So they actually show you the killer and show you commit the crime, right? And then you watch and then they have the cops come in and Elsbeth pieces together. So you know who did it, but just watching her get to it is awesome.
See, now that and you're absolutely right. That's something that you look at and you go, why don't they do that?
Yeah.
You know, because all right. So I watch almost all of the Law and Orders. We know that.
Yeah. And I watch all the CSIs.
And well, I don't watch CSI, and I don't watch NCIS, and I don't watch
NCIS. Yeah.
But I might start watching NCIS now that they're bringing back
Australia.
Michael. What's that?
Oh, the NCIS Australia or NCIS Sydney's back. They're bringing back the guy that ended up going on to make his own show. To make Bull, yeah. Denozo. They're bringing Denozo back?
Denozo and Zavia, whatever her name. Ziva? They're going to be doing like a like their own show.
A spin-off? Oh shit! Would you see that? My wife Nicole will be so fucking happy.
No. It's a definite. They're definitely doing it. And then of course NCIS. They also have NCIS Origins, which is all about Mark Harmon's character, but how he started.
Yeah, his origin story.
Right.
That's a good show too.
So I haven't watched that one either, but the Denozo one I'm actually interested in because like Michael Weatherby actually is a character I was invested in. Even if I didn't, and I never watched the show regularly, but anytime I watched it, I was always like, what's Denozo up to? And
Bull, I like Bull too. We like Bull too.
Bull, I mean, he's just a good actor.
And that was based on what Dr. Phil.
Pretty much, yeah. Except I hate Dr. Phil. Yeah, well, that's because he just preys on people, but and yet somehow became rich and famous from it. So I watched. I'm caught up on Apple TV's Severance, which season 2 is currently going on. If you haven't watched it, it is a mind fuck unlike anything else you've ever watched. And I don't have enough time to describe it. So I'm just going to sit there and say, from the mind of Ben Stiller.
You talked about it last week, yeah.
Is one of the craziest shows you'll ever watch. But
Harley Quinn, I forgot. I'm still watching. I'm caught up on that on Max too.
But then I started watching another show because I was caught up on Dark Matter, right? Oh, I'm sorry, because I was caught up on Severance. I watched the 9 episodes of Dark Matter.
What is that?
It's a show where at the beginning, this guy who is just like a professor in a college sits there, goes out because he finds out his friend wins an award, goes out with him, and then on his way home, gets hit over the head, thrown into a car, told to drive somewhere, and when he wakes up the next day, he's in a completely different universe.
Oh, what is this on?
Apple TV.
Okay.
They've announced a second season, but it has Joel. Oh fuck, I can't remember his last name. Jennifer Connelly is the main female in it, and then that weird dude Jimmy Simpson. I don't know, like if you ever watched what was that? He's been in so many different things. He was actually like a super weird guy. Actually, he's a super weird guy on It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and he was a super weird guy. He was a super weird guy on Psych, like just super weird looking dude. He's been in just about everything, but the whole idea is that the main character then after that moment is trying to do whatever he can to get back to his own universe. And it's wild. It blows your mind. The only thing I can say is I was disappointed with how it ended, but then I found out they're bringing it back for a second season, and I'm like, what can they possibly do in season 2, considering how season 1 ended. And then I finally finished The Dead Zone, which was that Anthony Michael Hall show I was talking about. I finished it today because I was like, I only had like 3 episodes left, so let me go ahead and get through this. And it's one of those shows where, like, you know that it was meant to go for another season, yet they gave you some endings while wide open, like jumping into other shit, right?
Right.
So I was a little disappointed by that. I do want to ask you this. Since we both watched the Super Bowl, did any trailers, any commercials jump out at you this year?
I think probably the one that made me laugh out loud was the damn Doritos one, where the spaceship was trying to get the Doritos bag and it started flying away and he grabbed it, and then all of a sudden the light got smaller and he started banging it into the wall. That one made me laugh. I'm trying to think.
The only other one that made me have any kind of reaction at all was the one about breast cancer awareness.
I don't think I saw that one.
Dude, it was like a minute-long commercial of just showing women's breasts and people looking at them, and then finally sitting there saying, "We know you're looking. How about we do something about it?"
No, I missed that one. I'm gonna
Wow.
you about it.
Otherwise, nothing really blew me away with them this year. And you know what it cost per commercial? $8 million per 30 seconds.
That's ridiculous.
$8 million per 30 seconds. Yeah. All right, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't have results from previous wrestling events from last week. If there's anything specific you want to talk about, I do have certain things that I've got listed. I'm gonna move some of them closer to their big things, but I think the first one we need to talk about is this.
Yeah.
WWE silently, and I say silently because while it came out on the internet, WWE didn't really acknowledge any of these, but they released a bunch of different people last week. 2 of note are Duke Hudson and Sonya Deville, who you brought up to me. So I want to talk about it, and if you have other names, please make sure that we talk about them all.
I can't think of any more.
Well, but Duke Hudson, Sonya Deville, you mentioned something specific. I want you to go ahead and talk about it.
I just thought it was weird that they're both, and it just struck me as odd, and I'm not trying to start anything, but it struck me as both of these are both out openly gay, and then
LGBTQIA,
LGBT, yeah, and they got released.
Whatever,
and
yeah.
so it just seemed weird to me. You know what I mean? Like,
well,
wow.
and
Sonya was doing good.
You brought this up to me, and you said, how is it that the WWE sits there and releases their 2 openly gay people? And I started chiming off other people that are known to be in the category. And when I did, you were like, "Oh, you're right. Okay."
I forgot about this.
However, I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't know Duke Hudson was. My feelings specifically when it comes to Duke Hudson, I'm going to be real and I'm going to be honest. He was part of an oversized group that ran its course, and when it got done, there's nothing for him.
Maybe they could have repackaged. They repackaged. They didn't even try. And I understand. I get what you're saying. They didn't have anything for them, but they do that all the time. We don't have anything for you. We'll put you here. We'll repackage you and bring you back. Right? They didn't try.
I just tend to think he was the fourth wheel of the Chase U group. You know, and I say fourth wheel, even though I think that he was number 3. I say fourth wheel because I'm going to say Ridge Holland was actually the third wheel, and Ridge Holland has moved forward from it. I worry that people like Thea Hale and Chase himself are next on these lists. I feel like the upward mobility of these characters doesn't really translate, and Thea Hale might be different, but the other ones don't translate well to the main roster.
I was surprised with Sonya.
Sonya's an interesting one, and
Isla, I was surprised with Isla because I liked Isla. I thought what her and Alba were doing, if they would have kept it up, they kind of let off the gas. I think the only reason they won those titles is because they were overseas, right? But I think Isla and Alba together, you had something good there, and you just.
Well,
Sonya,
it seems like Alba Fire
in a group.
It seems like Alba Fire's still there, right?
Yeah. And Sonya is in an active group every week.
Well, here's the thing I feel about that. So a lot of people are like, oh, they got released. With Sonya, she was told your contract's not being renewed. Like, and the reason why is because she's in the same spot she's been in for 10 years. Like, she's not moving up. She's not moving down. She's a mid person on the microphone. She's never really gotten to where she moves up. And then even when you look at her look currently, being the black leather, like, mouthpiece or whatever, she's not better than Rhea Ripley, and she's not used as a worker as much as Raquel Rodriguez. So even when you look at like what the look of the character is, she's number 3 on the list of those 3. And it makes sense as to why she wouldn't be kept.
But yeah,
I don't necessarily agree, but at the same time, currently in the wrestling industry, everybody we've talked about so far, except maybe Duke Hudson, I think has a serious chance of being a really good indie talent.
It's not going to be indie. They're probably going to go to TNA or AEW.
Well, and TNA, I think that the great thing about that is that means that they could still be on WWE TV. And for the first time, WWE may be willing to remove the 90-day window and let them show up on TNA sooner if they sign with TNA. You know what I mean?
You think?
It's possible. Like, they have a working agreement with them. So I think that could work. AOP.
They weren't doing much with them. I'm not really surprised with AOP.
So they hadn't had a televised match since December. And it wasn't even televised. It was technically on Main Event. So it was televised overseas, but not here. AOP had a look about them, but I don't think they ever translated into a good working tag team. Like, I felt that they were stiff, felt that people didn't necessarily want to work with them. But the most important thing when it comes to AOP is pretty simple. Paul Ellering, when the team was originally scheduled, and we're talking before the first release, when they were getting called up, Paul Ellering said, I don't want to travel. He liked working Orlando. because he was there every week. He was allowed to be there every week. But as soon as they were on the road, he didn't want to be there. He's old. You don't want to do that.
Yeah. No.
So it's very possible that when they started talking about like, hey, you know, what do you guys think? Paul Ellering is like, you know, I really don't care about being on the road. Well, if
AOP
Paul
got
Ellering's not
punished
going
for
to
it.
be there with two guys that don't talk, guess what?
They could have given him somebody else that does.
They could have, but I just don't think that like personally, I think that when you look at what they're doing with Karrion Kross and Scarlett, like Scarlett even, like I think they keep her because she's with Karrion Kross.
I thought that's how they got released too.
I didn't see they got released.
I might have misread it.
I'm thinking that right now they're still with the company. And in fact, I wouldn't be surprised if you see like a moment between Karrion Kross and Sami Zayn tonight. If Sami Zayn shows up, because Sami Zayn's going to be selling that injury.
Oh, Cedric Alexander's gone too.
Cedric Alexander is. And it has already started making people think that 3 months from now, we may see him as part of the Hurt Syndicate. Except, Tino, who is Cedric Alexander's wife?
Who did he marry?
Who's the first female that really gave issue when her contract wasn't renewed in AEW? And I haven't heard about her since in any professional wrestling sense.
I don't remember.
Big Swole.
Big Swole, that's right. Oh.
So there is a probability that Cedric Alexander will not make his way over to AEW. Now, at the same time, let me ask you this. Cedric Alexander goes to AEW, and let's say he even goes into the Hurt Syndicate. What are the chances that he gets a better position than he had in WWE? Which, by the way, was almost no position at all.
Yeah.
Like, as soon as the cruiserweight division in WWE died, Cedric Alexander's career died.
Oh, Blair Davenport.
What the hell happened to my screen? Are you there?
Know what happened. Yeah.
Hold on.
Something went dark. I just thought maybe your light went out or something.
No, my whole big screen went off. I still see you though. You can see me?
Yeah, I still see you, still hear you.
All right, hold on. It did
real
that
close
thing where, you know how it always asks like that question of,
do you want to? Yeah.
Yeah, it did that. There we go. All right, I'm back on. Of course, I dropped my mouse and everything else now.
Yeah.
Oh, we're so professional here. What the hell was that?
I was looking for, you know how you get the screens and I accidentally hit a button and it went over to YouTube. I'm like, I was trying to see who else was released. Blair Davenport was released.
Blair Davenport. Well, I got to be honest. When it comes to Blair Davenport, I know that the name was she got drafted to SmackDown. She showed up like twice on there, and then she was gone.
Ooh, Giovanni Vinci, and somebody that sent it to you. Somebody, what you sent it to me about how he was on Raw, and or somewhere he supposedly hit on Tiffany Stratton. And that's why he got sent over to SmackDown. And I think that's probably, and they're trying to say, even though Ludwig Kaiser doesn't have pull, Gunther does. Yeah. So that was a punishment for him getting SmackDown and probably getting.
Well, except Tiffany Stratton's on SmackDown.
So it might have been before some. I don't remember what it was. All I know is he hit on the wrong girl, and I don't know if that's why he got released or if that's why he got moved. I can't remember, but I have to find it and I'll send it to you.
So I did not hear that, but I'm gonna. So here's my feelings on this release, and Tino, be honest with me if you don't feel that you agree, please. Giovanni Vinci, after leaving Imperium, basically was repackaged as what Cesaro was packaged at the beginning of his WWE career.
Well, that was his. They tried that same gimmick, that rich Italian gimmick in NXT. If you
That's
remember,
what I'm saying.
Yeah, and so when he got kicked out of Imperium and went there, they tried it again, and I don't think I think both matches he lost. I don't think he won a match. Once he got out of Imperium,
both of his WWE matches on SmackDown finished in like 20 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Apollo Crews beat him twice.
Mm-hmm.
I think that this is one of those WWE stars that goes somewhere else that has a chance to be something. And I'm not saying, and I'm not saying AEW is the right spot. I don't think it is. I'm saying that he is a guy that has to go to either TNA, which may not be a possibility based on what you're saying right here, but he would do really well in Japan. He is a really good worker, so he would do really well in Japan.
Speaking of Japan, the Good Brothers. We hadn't seen them on TV in a while. Were we really surprised? And they've been fired and brought back so many times. I thought since AJ was back that they would, be back on my TV screen soon, but apparently not.
So that's a good point. I also think with Finn kind of feuding with his own people in Judgment Day, that you might have seen the Good Brothers actually start working with him.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, the Good Brothers, Finn and AJ all working together as a group on Raw probably would have been pretty good.
That would have brought back the what was the group that they were all in?
The OC?
The group in Japan that was supposed to be NWO. What were they? Yeah, that'd be the Bullet Club again.
They were the OGBC, remember? So yeah. I think what happened was AJ Styles was coming back, probably had a meeting, and they said, AJ, we're not sure what we want to do with you. And he said, move me to Raw. Let me finish out my career having some good matches with some great people. And they were like, well, we brought in the OC because you said you wanted them.
Mm-hmm.
You had problems with Roman, so we let him go. We brought him back. They really didn't do shit when we brought him back. What do you say? And he probably sat there and actually asked them, hey, guys, what do you want to do? And they probably said, send us back to Japan. Like, if I had to guess, out of anything, those two guys know that they are over like nothing else when it comes to Japan. Like send them over there. And I wouldn't be surprised if they sit there and end up in TNA because TNA used the shit out of them.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if New Japan uses them. Wouldn't be surprised if they go over to Noah and sit there and talk shit about New Japan just because the WWE has a working relationship with Noah. But they are American wrestlers that are great in Japan. Carl Anderson, I don't know how many times he sat there and said, "My hot Japanese wife."
Yeah.
He's ready to go back.
Mm-hmm.
The best thing for them was getting off of WWE TV.
You think?
When it comes to the two of them, yeah.
Yeah.
Are there any other ones?
I couldn't find any more. No.
There's been 10, I believe, total.
That's what I was looking. Those are the only ones I could see. The ones that I saw were the Ellering, AOP, Aladon, Sonya Deville, the Good Brothers, and Giovanna Vinci.
Oh, and Duke. So that's 10.
And Duke Hudson.
So that's 10.
Mm-hmm.
Let me put it this way. All of them have been through the WWE system at this point. They've all learned how to work. And they learned how to work at the top possible level.
Yes.
If they want to work the indie scene, they can do it. If they just want to do signings at like WrestleCon, they can make a living just doing that now.
Come to DPW.
Well, and let's look at Maximum Male Models, right? MXM. They came to DPW, and in one match, they did more than they ever did for WWE.
Yes.
So, but it's because they learned how to work in the WWE system.
And I think they were able to be themselves. I think a lot of times, too, we got to remember that WWE, they have you, like, they start you off a certain way, how they think you should go. And it might not be over with the crowd, right? So that's why I think a lot of these, like Cody, like a Drew McIntyre, like, so when they leave and they're able to be themselves and do things, and WWE is like, oh, shit, right? And so when they come back, that's why they're more, I think they're able to do more. Like Miro, I was just reading Miro. He's done with the AEW, and I wouldn't be surprised if he comes back to WWE.
It'll be interesting. There are a couple other things that I did not write on here. I don't think so. Adding them real quick to what we're going to talk about. Specifically, I do want to mention two people that are no longer on the AEW roster.
Yeah, we said it. It was Miro and Starks, right? Is it somebody else?
Read the screen.
Aleister Black. He's a free
Aleister
agent.
Black is officially off of their roster page.
But is he able to go? So he's a free agent. So he can pop up back in WWE.
He is done. That means tonight he could show up on WWE television.
Because remember last week, Chad Gable left to go. Yeah, that makes sense now.
And then you just mentioned it as well. Ricky Starks was removed. And then we also heard that one of, I guess, the big bear guys from AEW was removed from the roster, but that's because of a domestic violence issue.
Oh, yeah.
We'll just leave that right where it is.
Yeah.
But I do want to bring this up.
Yeah, I saw you mention that. I was like, what? So was that after the Rumble? Or was it before the Rumble?
I'm going to say he signed the deal before he walked out for that match.
And still lost it.
Well, absolutely. They weren't making the change at that point. But one Kevin Owens, and a lot of people didn't realize that his contract was up. Like, how was I the only one reporting on this?
Oh. I guess they assumed that, that last one he signed wasn't as long ago as it was. Because it doesn't seem like it's that long ago.
Well, if you remember, and this is what I want to bring up about that, is that when Kevin Owens signed his last contract, he signed for 5 years. Okay, 5. Mm-hmm. His new contract is 5 years, by the way. He signed for 5 years, but there was a clause in it that allowed him to sit there and basically get out of it. It was a 3-year or a $3 million a year deal. So it was $15 million. And he shortened it 2 years in because he was betting on himself. And remember, this was at like the height of AEW popularity. But it was also at that moment when Vince McMahon sat there and said, do you want to main event WrestleMania against Stone Cold Steve Austin? And he was like, So all of a sudden, hey, you're signed to another 3-year deal, right? Mm-hmm. So his contract, 3 years. First year, Stone Cold Steve Austin main event at WrestleMania, right? Second year, him and Sami Zayn win the titles at WrestleMania. Third year, him, Logan Paul, and Randy Orton at WrestleMania.
Yeah,
like the three biggest matches of his career. You can't even dispute those because Logan Paul was going to get more eyes on that match than anybody else could. And it was probably also the easiest match that he had because he had Randy Orton in there too. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. So the 3 biggest matches of his career, and the contract ends at Royal Rumble this year. Right in time for him to sit there and go, well, and you know what? Maybe he didn't sign the contract, but he saw how well the match went over. Triple H sits there and says, let's talk about what we got planned for you for WrestleMania and everything else. And here's how much money we're throwing at you. And he sits there and goes,
yes.
How would you not? You got to think that at this point, he has got to be one of the 5 top paid guys in WWE. When I say top 5 guys, I really do mean guys, because he might not be getting Charlotte Flair or Becky Lynch money, but he has got to be one of the top 5 guys.
You think?
Dude, who else is there? Roman, Drew McIntyre, Seth,
Cody,
Drew?
You said Drew already.
No, I said Roman, Seth, Cody. Maybe I did say Drew.
You did say Drew.
So he's number 5.
There's got to be another. Gunther? You think he's... Sammy?
No, Sammy and him probably signed. Like, I would assume that Sami Zayn re-signs with WWE and gets the same exact deal that Kevin Owens gets, the same way that all 3 members of the New Day signed for the same exact deal the last time. Like, okay. I don't see a world where Sammy and Kevin don't make the same money.
Okay.
But at this point, is there a world where Kevin Owens leaves to go to AEW?
No.
Not even close. Like I read this week that someone asked Eric Bischoff, do you think that there's a storyline or anything else that AEW can do that's going to put them like in real competition? And he was like, they're on their death march. And hearing him say that, granted, he knows how to kill an industry.
Mm-hmm.
Where are you going? Like, you are on, like, completely, like blurted out. Like you look like you're part of the
You okay?
yeah, no, I'm fine. I'm looking at you, and your face keeps blurting out like you're like you're on Dateline or something.
Oh. Yeah, let me. Oh shit! I didn't mean to do that. Oh god.
Oh, now I can see you. Now I know who you are. Oh no.
No, I made myself bigger. I was like trying to do it, and then all of a sudden I did it where it went full screen. I'm like, oh shit.
It's all right. But, you know, like, it'd be a little bit different if Vince Russo was the one that sat there and said that he thinks that AEW is the horrible place for people to go. But Eric Bischoff was like, yeah, I don't see anybody being more over than they are. And then I don't know if you saw Seth Rollins sit there and talk about it this week, but Seth Rollins was specifically asked if there was like a monumental trade that could be made between AEW talent and WWE talent, who would the two talents be? And he said, I don't think there's anybody on AEW's roster that is worth trading for.
Oh shit.
And he did even try to say, I'm not trying to get yelled at for this.
He's gonna get yelled at for that.
Well, he's not going to get yelled at by WWE talent. He's going to get yelled at by MJF, Will Ospreay, Swerve Strickland. That's it. Those are the guys that can yell at him for it. They're the ones worth trading for.
Yeah. Oh, what about Moxley?
Nah.
Yeah.
If Moxley gets creative control, we see what he's doing in AEW. We don't want him.
Big Bill, come on, man.
Actually, Big Bill probably would be over in WWE. I'm not lying. I'm not lying. People want to cheer Big Bill.
Right? I'm waiting for their learning tree to break up and him to go face.
Did you see the Jericho Cruise stuff with him and Enzo? They blew the roof off. They blew the roof off of a roofless boat, man. Like Enzo came out and they did their entire WWE NXT shtick, and it exploded.
When? Oh shit! I gotta find that now.
On the Jericho Cruise.
I mean, it's probably on YouTube. That's what I'm saying. I gotta find it.
6 at the beach. Anyways.
Damn.
All right. You ready for the next piece of it? Next piece of what I want to ask about?
Okay.
I saw that look.
Woo! That shit. I thought something was up, and then you sent me that, and I'm like, I thought so, because that hit looked stiff, and then Drew came back and fucking smacked him in the back of the head. I'm like, what the fuck is that? And then the LA Knight turned around and started whooping his ass. When that happened that night, I'm like,
all right, try to explain it to the listeners and the audience a little bit.
So there's the 3-way with
Jimmy Uso,
McIntyre, and LA Knight. And I don't remember what it was. I think it was when LA Knight was coming back into the ring. Big Jim ducked a shot, and LA Knight clocked the shit out of Drew McIntyre. And Drew kind of fell back. LA Knight got in the ring and had his back to him because he's working Jimmy over in the corner. And Drew just walked up behind him and smacked him as hard as he could in the back of the head.
So I think it started with Drew McIntyre kicking the stomach of LA Knight as hard as he could and putting him in the corner. And then it all started. And it was weird because Jimmy Uso was sitting there running the match the way he was supposed to. And like McIntyre even went to go hit him, and you could tell that it was about as soft of a hit as possible. And then he immediately turned and came up to LA Knight and just on the back of the head. And it was like, oh shit, receipts.
Yes. But what started it? I mean, what happened? Was it that accident? Do you think because I don't think LA Knight would have hit him like that for real. I think it was an accident.
This all goes back to the Royal Rumble. Drew McIntyre was mad at how he got thrown out. And it wasn't that he got thrown out. It wasn't even who threw him out. It was, and by the way, it wasn't LA Knight's fault. It actually was Logan Paul's fault. Logan Paul wasn't even supposed to be in the ring when Drew McIntyre got tossed out. He was supposed to be doing a slow strut down to the ring. And Damian Priest was supposed to throw Drew McIntyre out, which would have then caused like some tension between Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest.
Right.
And it would have been straightforward, whatever. When McIntyre actually got thrown out, it's because Logan Paul had made his way into the ring. LA Knight went to hit Logan Paul to get him out of the way, to kind of clear the area for them. And Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre went into LA Knight, and then Drew McIntyre went over and got removed from the Rumble the way that he was technically supposed to, just not the way that he was supposed to, right?
Yeah.
This caused Drew McIntyre to go backstage livid because it ruined the heat that the whole Damian Priest, Drew McIntyre thing would have gotten, because that's supposed to set up the match between the two of them for WrestleMania, which makes sense. The two of them are pretty big guys on SmackDown now, right?
Right.
Coming over from Raw, whatever, moving over to SmackDown, whatever. No heat on LA Knight turns into, we're going to do a three-way dance match, which I thought was a little bit interesting, considering when you look at Raw, the initial match to get into the Elimination Chamber was a singles match.
They did. They were doing three ways too for the women's.
For the women's, but the men's match,
they didn't do three ways for the men.
No, it was CM Punk versus Sami Zayn.
Okay.
So
they had three ways.
So CM Punk gets into the match by beating Sami Zayn. And then Kevin Owens does the package pile driver to Sami Zayn right after that match, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then you go to SmackDown, and it's a three-way dance match between Jimmy Uso, Drew McIntyre, and LA Knight. Drew McIntyre gets the win, but I have a feeling that Jimmy Uso was in there knowing that if things went sideways, he was eating a pin.
Mm-hmm.
Know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think that Triple H sat there and said, go air your grievances in the ring.
Oh, they did.
But I'm putting Jimmy Uso in there to make sure that Drew McIntyre still goes over in this match. Like, and by the way, I haven't seen anything that looked that way in a long time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And by the way, this is the same night that Drew McIntyre sat there, went on Twitter and was like, if you didn't hear it from me, if you didn't hear it from WWE, if you didn't hear it from then shut the fuck up. Because he's basically saying, there's no heat between me and anybody. But then he goes into the ring and punches the dude in the back of the fucking head. And
like an asshole.
And
yes.
And it wasn't.
You're right. And And watching that video with him,
back of the head, he kicked him in the stomach in the corner, and LA Knight was visibly like, you know,
that and like you said, it was funny because he hit LA Knight like he did, and then he went over to Jimmy and went ding, and he went back over to LA Knight. He's like, motherfucker, pow pow. I'm like, God damn.
And there, like, I don't know if I sent you the video or not, but there was definitely something where there was like a TikTok where someone sat there and was like, go ahead and look at these receipts. Like there's potatoes being thrown, you know, and for those that don't know, potatoes are when you really hit the guy.
And he was really hitting it.
And receipts are after you've been potatoed, you re-potato the other guy.
It's like, oh, I'm gonna get you back. You can get my lick back.
Yeah. And I mean, I swear to God, I haven't seen shots that look that stiff in a long time.
It's just stone cold.
You and I send videos back and forth, and recently there's been ones where it's like the Undertaker sitting there saying Ron Simmons gave me a receipt, and you see Farouk sitting there and just walloping him, and you see the Undertaker just sit there. You see the eyes roll into the back of his head, and it's the one time the eyes roll into the back of the head, and it's not because he's doing it.
I think it's my favorite. My favorite is I sent you when Devon was on this show, and he was talking about how the Dudleys were going against I think it was Kane and
Kane and the Undertaker.
Kane with the Undertaker, and something happened. Undertaker didn't like getting chopped or something, and he
getting chopped. He said if you were Ric Flair, he would give you 3, but nobody else was allowed to chop him.
Well, Bubba did something to the Undertaker, and the Undertaker didn't realize it, and he went after Devon. Devon said, "Hey, it wasn't me; it was the fat white guy."
So I know exactly what you're talking about, and the way that it worked was is that Devon was supposed to actually do something with the Undertaker, and Devon went after Kane instead.
Mm-hmm.
So Bubba went into the corner, and Bubba was supposed to give the chops to Kane, but didn't give the chops to Kane. Went up into the corner, and he looked at the Undertaker, and he said, "I'm so sorry," and he just went for it. And the Undertaker looked at him. He said, "That's your one," right? So then the Undertaker throws Bubba Ray into the corner. When Bubba comes out, he comes bouncing back because it's going to be one of the big boot moments.
Mm-hmm.
And when Bubba came back out, he just yelled, "Receipt!" And the Undertaker put his foot up and just booted him right in the face. And full bam, just knocked him out. And Bubba just went down, and he's like, "Worth it."
No, but that one, but the one he was going after Devon. Devon's like, "It wasn't me. It was the white one."
That I think is what it was. Is that the way that the match was called, like beforehand, was that Devon was supposed to actually do it, and Devon was like, "I'm not chopping him." So Devon went after Kane, and then Bubba had to do it.
No,
but again, like there's talk about Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Shane McMahon, or no. My favorite one that I like hearing about is Chris Jericho and Shane McMahon, and Shane McMahon's throwing these like potatoes, and he just throws potatoes, and then finally like Shane like Jericho looks at him and goes, "I'm gonna hit you back." and you just see Shane McMahon get knocked on his ass, and he's like, "Ugh!" And it takes him like 4 minutes to get up because it's like he wasn't expecting that.
He got knocked the fuck out.
Goddamn right. That's the way it was back then, man. Like, but But nowadays, you don't see it very often. So I have a feeling, if I had to guess in this moment, LA Knight said, if you feel like I did something wrong, go ahead and get your licks in. But let's get it over with.
I guess he felt like he did something wrong because
I mean, they're both professionals. And after the Royal Rumble, it was said that there was no heat on LA Knight because nobody felt like he really did anything wrong. But he's a 40-year-old guy. If somebody feels like you did them wrong and they're in a higher position than you in the company,
that's your ass.
Let him get his receipt, because otherwise, and you know what? Take the receipt, accept it, get the match over with, because hopefully backstage, the two of you can then sit there and go, all right, it's squashed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's the way the industry was when you and I were growing up. Obviously, you and I haven't been in the industry, but that's how we would handle shit when we were growing up. Somebody sits there and gets into a fight with us. We sit there, like, even if it was like, you like a girl, I like the same girl, all of a sudden, neither of us get her because we're both trying too hard, whatever. You and I have a fight. Afterwards, what happens? We get over it.
Yeah. And that's the way it should be.
And honestly, that's what this feels like to me. But still, some of the stiffest shots I've seen in a long time.
Oh my God. Yes.
And you know what? LA Knight, to his credit,
took it.
Knew his position, knew his place, let the moves happen. He did throw a receipt. And that was it. Like, I felt like it was done. I personally, I wouldn't be surprised if the two of them work together and actually have to work a match before Elimination Chamber now.
Yeah.
So, and you know what? I felt the match was all the much better because of it.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's talk about the Alexa Bliss.
About that. We talked about that last week when it happened in the Rumble. It went an hour and a half. You just want to talk about Alexa Bliss.
Well, except it also happened on Friday night. And it happened while Charlotte Flair and Tiffany Stratton were having their little tiffy-taff against each other. And all I can say about it is this. They're in for a rude awakening if they don't think she is going to insert herself into some main event pictures pretty quickly.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And also, know one thing I did want to say is during the match that she had with the Pixie. Did you notice they started the damn Wyatt 6 bullshit again with the screen? So
the weird gray screen, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I also want to go ahead and point out she signed a new 5-year contract.
Yeah.
And her finishing move was a nice play on the Sister Abigail. They called it the Abigail DDT.
Yep.
And it's pretty sick. And it was nice because it means she can continue using that move, maybe even change the name of it, if they move her away from that group. But it was a way to keep her involved with it, even though they're not on TV for whatever reason.
I think somebody's hurt. A couple of them are hurt, I think.
That is what it sounds like. But you're right. When all of a sudden the screen started going gray, I actually paused it to see if there was anything written in it. And there was not. And there was not. but it went up like 4 or 5 times. And I'm not surprised. I felt like I'm a little disappointed that they are trying to instill her into something that they'd already brought in with Nikki Cross as Sister Abigail. But
she probably, I don't, like I said, I don't think she's going to be Sister Abigail, but I do think, because I don't know if how
I
they
think
will
she's going to
still
break the
be
group
the
up.
leader.
I think she's going to break them up.
Why?
Because I think she's going to try to take control, and then you're going to have Bo Dallas sit there and try to break it up. Like, he's not going to want her to be in control.
Okay.
So, and we obviously, I don't think we'll see any of that until after WrestleMania.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't, like, it wouldn't blow my mind if Alexa Bliss ended up winning the Elimination Chamber based on the popularity level that she's getting right now.
Who'd you go against, though?
Oh, her versus Rhea Ripley would be awesome. You'd expect her to lose, except that's when you bring the Wyatt Six back in.
Yeah, but they're all on SmackDown, so they're going to move them back to Raw?
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Like we're all firmly believing that Tiffany Stratton's going against Charlotte Flair. And in fact, from what I heard, Charlotte Flair was originally supposed to play the babyface, but based on the reactions, Charlotte Flair's going to play the heel.
She's not going to be babyface over Tiffy.
She's never going to be babyface over anybody. The only person she might be babyface over right now is if WWE brought in Mercedes Moné. Because she left the WWE. And they'd have to sell it like that.
And I think that, the fuck is that? Sorry.
I don't know. Keep moving the screen around. Maybe I'll figure it out.
So something made a weird noise. I had to go back so I'm using my the Lenovo, my Windows computer, because I had to some of the reports that I had to do for work for some reason. I was like, oh yeah, you can't do it with iOS. I'm like, the fuck? It's got to be Microsoft. It's got to be Word. It's got to be Windows. I'm
right.
But I pulled this thing out. I'm like, dude, I forgot how cool this thing was, man. It's touch screen. It's one of those you can fold it in half, like make it like a book kind of thing. I'm like, okay. So I've been messing with it, playing with it.
My last Lenovo, just so you know, my last Lenovo was like that. This one isn't, so it doesn't have a touch screen, but it's so much more powerful than the other one. But every so often, I still try to touch the screen on it to get it to do things, and then I'm like, fuck.
Like a minute ago, something was on the screen. I went to wipe it off, and it muted me. I'm like, oh, thank God I didn't hit leave studio. I forgot this thing's a touch screen. So yeah.
All right, Tino. Next topic.
God damn it! It's almost 2 hours, dude.
Yeah, we're almost done. We're almost done.
No, we're not. You talk forever.
No. We're almost done.
Who's in the Atlanta? I don't know who's in there
Currently.
Cena. Because he got a bye, I guess. Punk.
Drew.
Okay.
That's it. We got 3 more players. Women.
And then we got Alexa. Fuck. Did what's her name win the?
I think Bianca.
What is it? Valkyria.
I think Bianca.
Did Valkyria win?
No, I think there's only 2 so far in the women's.
Okay.
So there's that.
I don't know, man. Until I see, I think you might be right. I think it might be Alexa Bliss, because I don't see Bianca winning it. I know that what's her name? Her tag partner, Naomi, has a match to see if she can get in it, but I don't think she will. I'm wondering when Jade's coming back.
It's a tough one. I don't know. Is there anything from AEW that you want to talk about? Because there is one thing I do want to talk about, and it's not Dynamite.
I'm interested to see where this Dustin MJF battle is going to. Was it Dustin and MJF, and
Dustin?
then Dustin fought MJF. Because MJF got in his face. He's going to fight him, or he did fight him. And then MJF also has something going on with the Hangman, which I think the Hangman's getting ready to go back to face. Ricochet. No, not much. Not really. Other than when the Tony Storm, I don't know if we talked about it last week, when Tony Storm did a whole match as Mariah May and looked just like her. That was fucking awesome.
Except had that big ass butt.
Hey, made him right. It made her look better. I'm gonna let you do that one because you sent me that.
So,
I'm confused because I'm like they're doing it on a Saturday night, and then I'm like, is it going to be a collision? Because I was confused, and then finally I figured out it was. I thought, well, maybe they're doing a PPV on a Saturday night.
It is a collision that apparently was originally supposed to be a PPV. So AEW obviously wanted to make Grand Slam a worldwide event, and all the more power to them for doing so. I feel like this was an important thing. They decided they were going to do it in Australia. I would have called it the Australian Open AEW because then it goes with that Grand Slam theme, but then you get to say that it's, the Australian Open. Here's the problem. They had to go to a smaller arena because they couldn't sell out the tickets. And on top of that, apparently, AEW originally had intended for this to be a $50 pay-per-view.
Woo!
Which their fans in Australia assumed they were getting a PPV quality card, and now they are going to get an episode of Collision. Now, this normally wouldn't be that big of a deal, Tino, except for the fact that 2 weeks ago, Dynamite, I sat there and went on a rant about the fact that the entire card looked like an episode of WWE Superstars. So, I'm hoping to God that AEW does the right thing and doesn't make this a battle of the belts and doesn't make this just a standard run-of-the-mill episode of Collision, but actually puts some titles on the fucking line and makes the right decision by having some other people go over rather than, as you stated earlier in the night, Tony Khan's favorite toys.
Because they already made it to where it's not going to be. I was hoping it's going to be Cope and which I didn't think he was going to win the world title anyway. But
Cope and Mox.
I think the only titles that are Tony Storm's is up. I mean, Mariah May's the women's championship, the TBS championship, and
TBS?
Harley. Is it TBS? Which one is?
Did Harley Cameron finally get a match?
Yeah, you didn't watch. That's right. You don't watch Collision. You don't
Well,
watch Collision.
I'm going to tell you right now. If Harley Cameron's got a match for that belt,
In Australia,
I
she's
will
winning.
watch it.
It's for the title.
But if she doesn't win that belt, I'm never watching Collision again.
You always say that, but I think she's going to win it because they're in Australia, and I think the experiment that they had with Monet is done.
The experiment.
Yeah, they tried some. They've been trying to push her. It's not working. And Harley Cameron, see, I don't want them. I'm thinking they're going to give it to her. They need to pull the trigger because right now she is white hot. She is over. The thing because okay, so you didn't watch Collision. So Saturday, so she's been trying to get the
match.
Shot,
yeah.
right? So she was in the middle of the ring. She was doing a Harley concert. It was it was kind of like a rock thing. And first of all, this chick can sing. Oh my God, she can sing. And she ventriloquist, right? So she was singing, and then Monet came out and pretty much put her down and said, yeah, you're not even my level. You've been trying to get this title shot. No, you're not. Harley walked out, and she goes, you know what? She goes, you're the one. You're overrated. And she said, the only time you've ever been over is when I had my hand up your puppet ass. I'm like, oh, shit. She said that shit. And so Monet went to go swing on it.
We need to post that.
It's on Collision. It's on Collision. And so she went to go. Monet went to go swing, and she slapped the shit out of Harley, and Harley just took it. And Monet came and swinging her again. She took that fucking microphone and hit her in her fucking jaw, and they went at She got the best of her. So yeah, I think
so. I'm gonna say right now,
and everybody's yelling, "Feel the wrath," because that's her thing. Feel the wrath. Feel the wrath.
She was on the Jericho cruise with Bubba Ray, and she slapped Bubba Ray and she said, "Bubba, get the tables." And Bubba just looked at QT Marshall, was like, because she walked away going, "I always wanted to say that," and she walks away.
That is hilarious. But that one line is the only time you've ever been on or been relevant or something. Is when I had my hand up your puppet ass.
Dude, I'm going to tell you right now. For someone who hasn't won a televised match, she has done more to get herself over than maybe even Danhausen. Because Danhausen was so over so that when they finally brought him into AEW, when he had a broken fucking leg, he had to climb out from under the ring with a broken leg and curse somebody just because they were like, he's the most over person in wrestling right now. She doesn't just deserve it. Like, she has done everything to put herself into a position to be a top player in AEW.
Your phone's about to go off. That was me. I found it on TikTok. I just sent it to you.
Oh, I'm watching. I'm gonna watch that thing like 87 times. Are you kidding?
I sent it to you. Yeah.
But I'm serious.
Yeah.
There is nobody that's as over as Harley Cameron right now in AEW. Nobody. Not Will Ospreay. Not John Moxley. Not Darby Allin. Nobody.
But that's what I'm talking about. She is like one of the and she did it herself. She scratched and she clawed. She didn't have. She came with like no wrestling experience. She started winning matches. She did it herself. You know what I mean?
She did it the same way that Swerve Strickland did it.
Yes, and a Mandy Rose and you know what I'm saying? That just
no. But specifically talking about AEW, because here's the thing: in WWE, you have a William Regal, you've got a Shawn Michaels, you even have Ava now, who we know is supposed to be a figurehead, but she is The Rock's daughter.
Yeah.
So if somebody sits there and gets her attention when she goes to talk to Daddy, Daddy's hearing about Ethan Page. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So Harley Cameron has one person to sell, and that's Tony Khan. And she even if he isn't a fan, he can't deny her at this point.
Got to listen to that crowd. That's what they need. They got to listen to that crowd, dude.
I mean, even if there's only 200 people in that crowd,
they'll tell you what they want, and they want fucking Harley.
And I want Harley. She's so fucking hot.
But that's another line that Machete said. If let's be real. If anything about you is real, and she did like in her chest area, and Harley went.
I mean, Harley Cameron sits there, grabs her tits and everything else every week, and you know what? She's not faking it. She's like, people want this. I will give them this.
She's yes.
There is nobody in women's professional wrestling that is using every aspect of who they are better than Harley Cameron. She's a singer. She's a ventriloquist.
Awesome.
She's hot. And she's fucking crazy, which, by the way, is the number one factor of why people love her. And I'm bought in. Like, you know what? I might not watch Collision. I will do my damnedest to watch this week just because
it's the pay-per-view.
Well, it's because it's going to be her match against Monet. But if I don't, I guarantee you I will watch the YouTube clips of it, because her clips and Tony Storm's clips are the two reasons to watch AEW television right now. There is no other reason in this moment to me.
I can't wait for you to get off here and watch that what I just sent you, because that whole and it's the whole segment, and that
even better.
It's the whole segment.
All right. I have nothing else, Tino.
Good.
Wow. Wow, that's kind of mean.
No, I'm teasing.
Oh, wait.
Too early.
I just want your opinion. And folks out there in the audience, this is going to be something that obviously as we get closer and closer to WrestleMania, we will talk about more. But we would like to know who you think deserves to be in the WWE Hall of Fame. I'm going to say right now, you ready? Victoria.
Okay.
She just signed her Legends contract. She's a friend of the show. But Lisa Marie Varon, Victoria, absolutely 100% earned and deserved to be in the WWE Hall of Fame.
Godfather.
I think he's already in there.
Oh, fuck. I don't know. I got to think.
I think that's why they show him on all that stuff saying, look, he's actually there.
So, fuck.
Isn't it crazy
Mark Henry? Shango? Mark Henry? Yeah, Papa Shango.
Mark Henry's in there because he went in with the salmon jacket.
Fuck.
Stop looking at the damn Nation of Domination. Just put the whole nation in there.
Well, I mean, I would say The Rock, but I think a lot of times it's like,
put the whole
I understand why.
Domination.
Well, The Rock's not done wrestling yet, so that's why I don't think he's going in. I think the only person who's still wrestling that's in the Hall of Fame right now is Ray Ray.
currently. I mean, you do have Cope in AEW.
But you know what I mean. At the WWE.
Well, I mean,
Damn.
Bully Ray or Bubba Ray actually did wrestle on NXT just a couple weeks ago when they were at 1300.
Is Kane in there?
Kane is in there.
Did you have anything about it? You caught me off guard. I can't think of anybody.
So this is going to be an ongoing subject. I want us to start looking up. And by the way, it means that if we bring it to the show, we do have to look up whether or not they actually are already in there. Like Rick Rude, people think that he's not. He went in 2009, so he's been in there for 15 years. You're right. The Rock is not. John Cena is not. I assume John Cena goes in next year, 2026, because he's going through his tour this year. Goes in next year.
Is Heyman in? Heyman's in.
Heyman went in last year.
Yeah.
Tommy Dreamer is not in, but now with TNA also working with WWE, Tommy Dreamer can go in. Raven can go in.
Santino Marella.
I get Santino Marella going in. You know, an interesting topic and an interesting person that I heard that you might not like, but celebrity wing side, Johnny Knoxville.
I could live with that. I could
also see putting Hugh Jackman in there.
Put Arnold in there. Arnold
Might actually be in there.
Schwarzenegger?
He might be.
Drew Carey
is.
Bob
Barker is.
Bob Uecker.
If Bob Uecker's not, Bob Uecker deserves to be.
Because that's the one. Isn't that the one that Andre choked out?
How about this? Posthumously, Bray Wyatt.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
2-time WWE champion. Obviously a mind unlike others. Bray Wyatt. WWE
I wouldn't
Hall
be
of Fame.
surprised if he went in this year. Especially now when they got the Wyatt 6 and all that going on.
The other person that I keep hearing, Batista, who was originally supposed to go in 2020, but then removed himself from it because of the pandemic. So Batista technically is not in there. And you know the sad thing, get this. You're putting Triple H in this year, right? Which makes Triple H a 2-time Hall of Famer because he's in with DX. What if they put Evolution in there? And then Ric Flair and Triple H become the first 3-time WWE Hall of Famers.
That'd be cool. They need to put Randy in there by himself, though.
I think Randy, just like AJ Styles, just like some of the other guys. You know, actually, I'm going to throw one other name out there, and then we can end the show. The guy not currently under contract to anybody. You ready? For Hall of Fame? Daniel Bryan. His wife's sister just made her return at the Royal Rumble. He's not under contract. He said he didn't want to go in until he actually had retired. He had his retirement match in November. And they're only about 600 miles or so from where he's from in Washington to Vegas. Maybe 1,000 miles.
That's a long shot.
It is a long shot, but
Ooh, AJ Lee.
typically they do one major female, and I really hope it's Victoria.
Okay.
But if there was another one, you're absolutely right. So folks, our watchers, go ahead, start coming up with ideas, putting them in the chat over the next couple weeks. Let's see if we can figure out who all of the WWE Hall of Fame class of 2025 is going to be. Because with it being 2025, it just sounds like it's going to be a big class anyway. Tino, why don't you go ahead and tell everybody what's up and how to reach us?
You can reach me at I'm on the Blue Sky. You can reach me at SC Tino on the I'm so damn tired I can't think. On the Snapchat and the Instagram. You can also reach me at Tino R. Gray Music on the TikTok. You can catch us on excuse me. We're on Twitter as Potsy and Tino, Facebook with Potsy and Tino Show. Here each week on the Pots and Pans Network. Please give us a subscribe, thumbs up, like the page, buy our shit. We also want to say thank you to Adam's House Cat for the wrestling song. You can find it on iTunes for a low price of 99 Jones.
99 Jones, absolutely. Find me on Instagram.
How much that cost?
Find me on Twitter at Podcheck. Find me on Twitch and everywhere else at Rob Potsy Podcheck. And of course, subscribe, give a thumbs up, give a like, do all that stuff for the YouTube channel. Folks, we love you. We're here every week. We are now, 275 episodes strong on this show.
We'll do it.
How many shows can you say that about? How many shows can you say that you actually like looking at the two guys running the show that many weeks?
We're episodic. He always says about Raw.
We're the most weekly episodic podcast YouTube show about pro wrestling.
Episodic. We're episodic Jones.
What's the other thing he says?
Yambag and Yahtzee. Yambag Yahtzee.
Yes, we're an episodic Yambag Jones.
Yahtzee Jones.
Yambag Jones.
Now we're getting punchy.
Yes, folks. Thank you so much. We'll be here next week.
As always.
Yeah, absolutely. We will see you soon, and we're out of here.
Ready? Motor City Machine, Potsy and Tino.
For the Potsy and Tino Show.
Thanks for watching.